you look down the rabbit hole and all of a sudden you slip and fall in. You're like, oh, I'm stuck. What do I do?
Don't drink with alcohol; it'll mess you up. So you're supposed to just drink that, but nothing else, right? So
Yeah.
no.
So
Oh
the Puma,
damn.
the Puma Thundercats collaboration coming out.
Hey everyone, welcome once again to Show versus Business, your weekly take on pop culture from two very different perspectives. I'm your host, Theo, and on the line, I have the man himself, Mr. Benja. What is up?
What's up, my man? It's another fine week in digital life, right?
Digital life, man. We are living the dream right now. So, well, hey everyone. Today we will be talking about. We talked last week about the non-fungible tokens (NFTs), and so we'll do a quick little follow-up on that. Some interesting things have progressed since the last time we talked about this. Then we'll also do a check-in on the streaming wars. There's a new entrant, Paramount Plus, and then finally, WandaVision final episode on Friday. So we'll talk about that and give you guys an update. With that being said, Ben, hey, how was your week? What'd you do? Anything interesting?
Oh man, was it interesting? I know we're going to get into it in a little while, but check this out. I am actually in line as we speak for an NBA Top Shot pack of cards. So when you say how my week has been, I've actually been following this stuff, and of course, you know, when you look down the rabbit hole and all of a sudden you slip and fall in, you're like, oh, I'm stuck. What do I do?
That rabbit hole, boy, that gets you every time. It's crazy. So, so where you at in your bid process? Are you? When will you know if you win or not?
So okay, so this is all new. All this stuff is just now really starting to happen. And last week, you know, I'd heard about NBA Top Shots, but last week I was like, let me actually jump in, right? So I went online, you know, started up my account, and that takes a little bit of a process. But I got in, yeah, I got in line, quote unquote. And there's this whole queuing process where you have to, you know, sign up and register, and you get the announcement that hey, you know, the line is now ready to accept people, and you accept that you want to actually be in line. You confirm, and then, you know, they send you this little post that says, "Hey, you're now in line. Number of users in line ahead of me. Right now, it's 15,253 people ahead of me." And so listen, this is funny because there are over 170,000 people in line, and only 18,000 packs remain. You know, so uh, it's funny because as time goes on, you see the numbers dropping fast. Like I guess people get mad, their Wi-Fi cuts out, and, you know, their significant other throws their phone in the lake. You know, something happens where all of these people just start dropping off, or you know, maybe they get scared because you know I am dropping money on this. So yeah.
Oh man, no. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit more on NFT. So, no, that's interesting. Yeah, same here. I kind of went down that rabbit hole a little bit with NFT on the healthcare side. So we're trying to think through that and how that works. So it's a wild west right now with these NFT tokens and how we wanted to think through it. But on my side, let's see what happened this week that was interesting. Well, I did not just a dry January, but I did a dry February. So I'm back to back to drinking again. So it's good. So try to calm down from the drinking, at the beginning of the year. But now that I'm back, it's good. So that's been pretty positive. But like I said, I think the drinking thing, it's kind of interesting. It's like when you think about it, there's a lot of companies out there that are kind of catering to people who want to kind of live the non-alcoholic
Okay.
life, and so it's kind of interesting. And I tried some of those beverages, trash. They weren't that good. So, but but you feel something. So I don't know if they were FDA approved or not, but you do feel a little buzz or something. And there's some things around like matcha mushrooms and lion's mane, things like that you can drink. That's supposed to give you a little buzz, but it's not the same as drinking wine or alcohol or anything
You
like
you
that.
talk
So it's kind of interesting. I kind of
you talk
go
about
ahead.
like kombucha.
Well, kombucha is kind of like I kind of think that's like soda, but it's like a little kick to it. But there's other things that you can drink like lion's mane. I don't know if you
Mm-mm.
heard of that or matcha green tea. I know you heard of that, and it's supposed to get a little buzz and kick these mushrooms. It's not those type of mushrooms. These are the different type of mushrooms. It's supposed to give you a little buzz when you drink it. They got like coffee type mushrooms that you can drink. There's this one company that has a little buzz to like these little drinks that you drink. And they said, don't drink it with alcohol. It'll mess you up. So you're supposed to just drink that, but nothing else. Right. So I had one of those and you do feel a little something. It's supposed to have some kind of interesting mix of, I don't know what they would call it, some euphonics or something like that. It's just some mixture and concoction that they put together, but you do feel a little something, but it's not the same thing. But so it's kind of interesting. All I'm just going to say is that I believe in the non-alcoholic lifestyle, so maybe I'll eventually get to that point. But I do think that it's still got ways to go. So that's my interest around that.
Yeah, everything in moderation, and if different things hit people differently, like I I found out for myself, that at some point in my career, my drinking career, if you want to call it something stupid, but I found out like vodka is good at for me at parties. Tequila is a little too good at parties. Rum is a nice chill, long term party drink. Like if you're going to New Orleans and you're going to be drinking all day, drink rum. It's a nice happy thing for the entire day. Wine, you want to sit down and relax. Every drink has its own different things and how it affects you. So, not advocating drinking here or anything, but yeah, figure out what's your poison and what works for you, what doesn't.
What? No hen? No Hennessy? Come
Yeesh.
on, man.
I don't want to lose my Florida A&M card, but uh, that stuff, man. I can't even figure it out. It just kind of effed me up, and I was like, you know what? I don't even know if I should be dealing with this.
Oh man, Hennessy and black folks, man. There's a
Hennessy.
long history on that one. Hennessy, matter of fact, what was the Incredible Hulk? I mean, I know we go down a rabbit hole here, but what was it? Hennessy and what was the other? I can't remember the mix that was in it, but it's
Oh,
just
right, the
like
Drake the Incredible
it's
Hulk,
nothing good.
dude. That messed me up. I was in a bar. I was in a bar once, and I didn't know like what was going. I was just hanging out with friends, and you know, one of my boys said, hey, let me get an Incredible Hulk, and just out of my Comic Con side, just like turned around and said, yeah, give me an Incredible Hulk too, and next thing I know, I'm seeing green flashing lights, green and purple all around me. I could.
Nah,
It was.
nothing good comes out of that drink or anything mixed with Alizé or so it's just black folk or hunch punch. I mean
Punch punch. I forgot. Oh man.
when you got people in the bathroom, putting something in the concoctions in on the bathtub, there's nothing good comes out of that. So anyway, so make a long story short, we don't advocate that any drinking or anything like that, but just interesting that we got to be careful what we're drinking out there. You just
And
don't know.
but that said, also leave any stories you have in the comments. We'd like to hear from you.
Oh yeah. I'm sure people got tons of stories, tons of
uh,
stories. So I actually had some ants. I can't even say it. How's that? How do you say it? Amstiff.
absent.
The Amstiff. Yes, the green
Yeah.
thing. Oh my goodness, the little green fairy. I just had a little taste and just tried it one time, and it didn't really mess me up, but I could feel it. But I heard that you don't want to do
Now
too much
there's
of that
like
stuff.
there's
That
like
that
absent, and then there's legit absent. Legit absent can be hard to find. So
So I didn't get the legit one because I did not see no green fairy.
Okay.
So I was good. So anyway, we'll talk more about our adventures in drinking maybe another time. But with that being said, man, so let's get into it. Let's talk about NFTs, man. So last week we had a deep dive. We talked a little bit about non fungible tangible tokens, and so we wanted to kind of get a sense of what was out there since the last time we talked about this. One of the things that came to my mind, and I kind of posted on Instagram and talked a little bit about it, was Beeple, the artist that we talked about. He was doing some very innovative things when it comes to this, and he's kind of obviously had the content, because he was doing these everyday type of 3D printings. He was able to innovate. I mean, he saw a trend, which was NFTs. Other artists had did it before him, but he was kind of following that trend. And then he also innovated with, he created that kind of like physical copy of that digital copy that he was sold. And so he's definitely in the forefront. I mean, he's kind of like we talked about, like a Warhol of his generation, right, for this next generation of artists. So I'm just thinking, definitely he's the icon of the artist world, right? And then we're looking at what's happening now, right? I mean, since the last time we talked, I mean, NBA Top Shops, I know you just talked about that. We'll go into that about actually owning an NBA highlight. And I think soccer is trying to do the same thing. And then I don't know if the big thing news that came out today, Tidal and Square. I don't know if you saw that, Ben, but basically Jay-Z has basically sold a majority share of Tidal, which is that streaming music service that he created with a bunch of artists several years back to compete against Spotify and Apple and all those folks. So obviously he's out the game now. But the interesting thing is now they combine with Square, which people don't know. Square actually owns Cash App, which Cash App is doing some innovative things about allowing people to buy Bitcoin through the Cash App, right? Not just exchanging dollars anymore. So it's kind of interesting. So all this to say is like NFT, man. Is this hype or is this real?
So, we should actually call your boy Marcus Blockchain Howard and get the details from him. That's a guy who was on blockchain hard for ever since I've known him. What was that, like 7, 8 years ago? I don't know. Um, but yeah, it's like Square, the payment processor, not like Square, the video game guys, or Square, the guys who put together websites. Um, but yeah, there's a payment processor out there similar to PayPal, and they've they're actually a favorite amongst artists and a lot of small business types. So you say a name like that, and people are talking about, oh, you're getting into blockchain now, you're getting into using these NFTs. You're a name we can trust. So that actually goes a long way in terms of building up these systems and things. It's like, I've never heard of Bitcoin, I've never heard of Dogecoin, maybe, but Square, oh yeah, the guys I use when I go to my art shows and sell my art, sure, I trust them. I'll get down with them. So it's it's so interesting to me, Theo, because it's like you've got this other form of currency that's kind of getting built up, alongside traditional, dollars and everything. It's like, okay, we're starting to see currency kind of splinter and make its own lanes. It's really interesting. I must admit I don't keep as much with the finance world, but um, it's wild out there.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, another news item that we shared this week was Kings of Leon. They're actually introducing the next album as an NFT. And so the way someone kind of explained it to me, listen to other podcasts and other influencers out there, was that, hey, look, yeah, someone can has an NFT, for this album, but now they have tagged, who owns, these NFTs. And so they can create like a whole user experience. So maybe, you're a super fan of Kings of Leon. So maybe we'll reach out to you and say, hey, do you want to get front row seats to the next Leon concert? Or do you want to have an experience with the Kings of Leon, right? Doing something. So it's like you can create this whole kind of experience beyond just the music, because now you have these super fans that just totally believe in you, that they want to have ownership on that token. And so that's kind of interesting to me. It's kind of like you're creating, an entire economic ecosystem for your fans, right? So now they don't have to go and figure out what Kings of Leon's going to do. They just buy the token and they get updated on all the latest and greatest stuff because you're a super fan. So to me, that's interesting because now as an artist or content creator, if you just get, we talked about this before, right? The 100 raving fans or 1,000
Yeah,
raving fans, right? If you just get these fans, they love you. Now you create a token around what you do. Man, that opens up the possibility where you just create your own, economy, right? You're your own little country, your little fiefdom. So that's
yeah,
powerful.
and definitely to your point, I was talking with a programmer, last week, and he told me that, hey, I get the technology behind blockchain, but he didn't understand why it was so important. And I'm listening to a programmer, and I'm like, interesting. So he understands all the possible ways to construct the technology, the ways that it can be used and permutated, but he didn't understand the applications. Which is where the show versus business thing comes in. At if you can marry those two sides, you've got something great. Well, this started up a whole discussion on my Facebook page, but I started realizing as we were discussing that right now what we're doing is taking a little bit of power away from large corporations, and we're assigning the actual ownership, the actual branding, the actual fun part of it to the user. Because anything, if you think of NFTs as a ledger, where you can track things that go on with something. Um, you know, let's say you've been playing Mario Kart, since college. Who would do that, right? Um, yeah. If you've been playing Mario Kart since college and you have an NFT attached to your gamer tag, that means that it doesn't necessarily belong to Microsoft or Sony. If this token was created on an open platform, based on Ethereum or something, and Microsoft just happens to write all its data to it as you give them permission, because that's part of the whole agreement thing. Um, then all of a sudden, I've got a gamer tag that lasts my entire life. Somebody can go online and look at all my wins, my trophies, and things. And that actually could get invasive and go to the negative side where people don't want that information out there. But that's another story. Um, but yeah, imagine you log into something, a new system, and we're like, hey, well, bring up your NFT token, and it may have nothing to do with video games. You may just go to a concert or something, and you log in, and they're like, hey, do you want to connect, up this with this NFT? And you're like, sure, go ahead, do it. Next thing you know, boom, they're like, oh, you're VIP. You've been playing for this long, and da 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 da. Yeah, we have nothing to do with Microsoft, but we were able to call them, on the computer and get your data, because you allowed us to. So that was just one extra application that we came up with, and yeah, it's really it's really weird. So um, I don't know how you feel about actually putting all your data out there and being tracked like that, but it's something that surprisingly hasn't had much backlash. The tracking part of it, I mean.
Well, I think look, we've been tracked anyway, right? I mean, between Facebook, Google, we're they're if everything is free, these search engines and Facebook, then if something is free, then guess what? You're the product, right? That's what they're selling. Your access and who you are, they're selling to advertisers. So I think people have kind of gotten away from what's tracking, if it's something that we really want or not. But what's fascinating to me by NFTs, the more I'm thinking about this, it really does solve a key problem, right? I mean, business is about like how do you solve a key problem, and the problem with that is solving is basically understanding, ownership, understanding rights in a digital world, right? And as we become more digital, as we become more virtual, right, in our dealings with people, then having that authentic, that understanding of who owns what and what everyone's doing is really going to be key for the future of commerce in that environment, right? I mean, you kind of hinted at last time, like if you go to a virtual show with you got your VR glasses, right? You won't be able to see the art unless you have purchased, a ticket to go see that art, right? And so there's and the person who can do that for you is the person who owns that, NFT for that design, that art or whatever, right? That they want to display in that virtual world. So I think we are, kind of getting to the future, right? Which is basically going to be that virtual environment where everybody's going to be dealing with each other, in these virtual worlds. They actually even one of the articles I read recently this past week was they even have virtual real estate that's going through the roof, where you will buy a plot of the earth right in the virtual environment, and that's yours, and so people can rent that space from you and utilize it and do different things with it. Now, what does that entail? I don't know. I got to look more into it, but it does strike me as very interesting. But I mean, we've been doing it because think about it, Farmville, Animal Crossing, these, digital things that we've been doing for a long time. So it's not like something that's foreign. It's just they're just trying to think of how you can digitize everything and do commerce in a virtual world.
Well, you could take it back to Second Life, which is. Do you remember Second Life? Okay, good. Yeah, Second Life.
Of course,
Really
yeah.
quickly was a. Who am I talking to? Yeah, but Second Life was basically a 3D avatar world where people walked around, were able to talk to everybody. Um, you know, the original idea was to take the concept of a chat room and expand that to a 3D space where people could interact and be cool with each other. So this was like decades ago. And the cool thing about it was, it wasn't that cool to me because I was in virtual spaces and connected to a lot of people already. But you'd go on there and there would be people, like a group of people in one side of this Second Life world that were all from India. So you travel over there and everyone's speaking Hindu. You're like, oh, this is I didn't expect this, and you go somewhere else and it's like, oh, Pakistan is literally kind of just down the digital street from this Indian place. It's like it was really fascinating. But the thing with Second Life is that it got bogged down by one single technology. It was it was often hacked a lot, but it was the precursor to a lot of what you're talking about, Theo. So
Yeah, it was too
the,
early. Let's be honest. It was too early.
yeah, yeah,
It had to be too early.
yeah. There was a
It had to be too early. It was just too early. I mean, I think that's where it boils down to, right?
yeah, yeah. Anytime people tried to do something like I forgot what it was called. It was like the World Digital Arts Summit or something happened, and next thing you know, hackers invaded it, and what you got all these people standing around waiting for something cool to happen, and the hackers come in, and all of a sudden it's like a room full of flying dicks going around. Dicks with wings attacking all the residents of Second Life. You could look that up. It's still comedy, to this day. So yeah,
Well,
Second.
my whole take on it is like, these virtual worlds didn't become reality until there was like a black swan event, which is a pandemic that made virtual worlds and remote working and environments a necessity. And so that's to me is like really, if you could kind of bet, like look, you put all your eggs in a basket and say, look, there's going to be something that's coming in that it's going to enable people to kind of do work remotely, want to do commerce remotely, and these things make sense, right? NFTs, working from home, technology, virtual worlds. So it's like, this is kind of where we're kind of getting to. I would just argue that, I think we kind of discussed it last time, as things start to open up, will people still be enticed to want to stay around in this virtual world environment, or they want to interact more in the physical world? So I don't know where that balance is going to lay out, right? I mean, obviously, it's going to be more people in virtual world doing more things because now you can, but then that pull to that physical, right, is still going to be huge. And so I'm just curious, where that breakdown. So for instance, let's say we were started out like 1% of the population we're doing things virtually, all right? Whether that's in gaming and virtual worlds, Roblox, all this other stuff, NFTs, things like that. So now, because of the pandemic, 20% of the population is on there. Where does that go back down to, right? It's not going to stay at that 20% level right now that, things are opened up. Does it go back down to 10%? Does it go down to 5%? So, that's my question, right? Because I think that pull to the physical world is still pretty strong. But, we saw that, look, you can be anywhere and you can work anywhere now. So a lot of people that's, enticing. So anyway, I say all to say is like, these virtual worlds, NFTs, and all this stuff is really interesting and exciting. But how is there going to be a pullback from it? Because we're going to reopen the economies and people are going to do more things physically. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but
Do I have
I definitely think there could be some opportunities there.
yeah thoughts on that? So what I've and this is another one of those conversations. What's virtual and what's real, and where's the actual value at? We're in a changeover process where somebody could care less if I had a you know 1980 Cobra Kai karate championship trophy on my wall, but now it's like I have a verified verified YouTube video that says hey, I kicked this guy in the throat, and everybody started cheering, and that YouTube video has got 10 million views. That's that's so much more important to people now than me taking saying, hey, look, I got this physical trophy behind me. I was actually it doesn't matter. So I think we're just seeing a crossover into what we deem as important. Like, speaking of NBA Top Shots, I'm about to drop $199 here like a dumbass. Um, you know, because I'm now
Do it.
4,933rd person in line. So it's moving up, but it's like that's important to me now. I went out and bought a real pack of cards, and I could have gotten an amazing card, but I don't care about that as much. I want the digital thing because the digital thing is actually connecting to people. That card, as an introvert, I don't. That card means I have to go out and talk to people. I have to show them. I have to. It's so much more work, to make it relevant. The thing online, I'm relevant just talking about it right now. Let me tweet about this thing.
Good point. I like how you thought about it. You said you're relevant, just even being involved in it, right, and owning it. So that's interesting. And one of the guys we listened to, Gary Vee, he talked about it. He said he saw this, years ago, right? Because I remember he was doing stuff. Gary Vee is a big influencer, right, in the entrepreneur space. He was talking about this. I remember, like these collectible items, like a couple years ago, and he's one guy that I think kind of gets it, right. And so these top shots and things like that, these digital type of collectibles could be huge for the future. So anyway, I know we could talk for hours about this, so we're going to move on to another topic, but we'll definitely do check-ins from time to time on NFTs and where we're seeing it going, what we're doing with it. Like I said, I'm kind of dabbling in it as well with some of the stuff I'm doing in healthcare. I know, Ben, you're also kind of dabbling as well in it. So, definitely, we can definitely keep people up to date on
Let
that.
me ask you really quickly. The pricing model that the NBA is using with their Top Shots, it seemed to me like they were going a little bit in the Disney route, where let's just like Disney. What I mean by that is, they allowed you to pay $30 to get Mulan digitally for a little while when it released in theaters, and people thought that was high, and that's what it seems like the NBA is doing as well, where it's like you get for $14 you get three digital. They don't want to call them cards; they're calling them moments. You get three digital moments, and there's a special pack that people are paying $199 for, and it seems almost ludicrous. It's like, what? I don't get a free T-shirt with that. I don't get I don't get a pair of shoes with that or anything. It's like I'm just getting these digital assets. I mean, what does the pricing say to you when people are, thousands of people in line to pay $199 for what amounts to a fancy video.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it just depends on how rare. I mean, obviously, is the rarity is based on what they create, right? And so, they, like you said, would you say only 14 packs or something exist of this type of highlights?
Oh no,
So that's going to be interesting, right?
it's a lot more than that. Not 14. Did
Okay.
be sold out. There's um uh okay, so this pack, the pack was $14 and had 3 moments in it. This new one for $199 has 6 moments in it. No, 7 moments in it. So there's a rare moment that only has like 2021 of each. It's a limited edition run of 2021 each. It has a Rising Stars moment that doesn't really say the exact. That one's limited to 10,000 units. So there are 10,000 other people with this thing, and then there are a couple, you know, regular ones that would normally come in the $14 pack. So there's still a lot of people getting this stuff, but when you're looking at the total numbers, it's like a total of 32,740 packs are being made available. So
Hmm.
I don't. That's a relatively high number, I suppose, but to be paying $200 for. But okay, yeah, I just want to clarify the numbers on that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no. I mean, supply and demand, right? So if they don't put as much supply, obviously it's going to be worth more long term. And I would say even if when you said Rising Stars, to me that just say, okay, let's say if you get a rookie card for, like I don't know who's a rising rookie. I mean, Zion Williamson, right? And that's a moment, right? From now, here is 2021, his second year in the league. And then, 5 years from now, he's like the league MVP. That's going to be worth something, definitely. I mean, that's it. We know that's going to be worth something, right? So, and then the other value of worth to me is just the supply versus demand, right? How many of these did they release? So, if it's a limited number of this one kind of highlight, then obviously that's going to be worth more. So those are the two factors I think that's going to be tied to that what that value would be for that highlight or that card or that moment, if you will. But so it's going to be interesting to your point. What does that mean long term? This only works, right, if this market exists, 5 years from now, right? So
Yeah,
if it doesn't exist anymore, it doesn't. Yeah, you just spend 100, $200, for what?
yeah,
Nothing. But
yeah.
but obviously, I think this is for the long term. So anything dealing with a rising star or like you said, limited offering is going to be worth something. And you're right. This is a perfect time to get in. So we'll see. I mean, early stages, like you said, I don't know how. I mean, I guess the comparable would be like the Pokemon packs, right? How did they price those, right? Based on rarity. Now to be fair, now that in theory, the Pokemon packs are tied to a game that if you get a powerful card, right, then that gives you the right to do more things. Whereas the highlights, they don't have any value in of themselves, right? They just have value of what they potentially become, but not because if I get a Zion Williamson moment, right? What does that mean? I initially, I can use that to buy a Ferrari or something like that, right? Not the case. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know, to be fair, because it's very interesting, right, to me, because I understand Pokemon, right? Because there's value there with the card itself beyond just the rarity of it, because you can use it for something. But there's utility there, if you will. But when it comes to like these NBA top shops, what's the utility of a moment beyond just the ownership at rights, right? If that
Yeah,
makes
you
sense.
ever collect?
So I don't know. It's gonna
You
be
ever collect
interesting.
shoes?
No, not really. So what do
So
you
it's
think?
it's in that same vein. The crowd that's on this, on this NBA Top Shots thing, that is the streetwear collectible crowd. That is the you know, that weird intersection of
Mhm.
streetwear, comics, sports. If you ever saw Entourage, like Turtle was, trying to find those kicks in that one episode, and it's that crowd. So you know, the people who are getting on now, like this is the first time they're releasing something like this. And that's my story. I'm not so into basketball, but I'm going to say, like, hey, when NFTs first came out and started popping, I was there on my computer talking to Theo, and I was number 12, 1239 in line,
Oh shit.
so.
Hey man, hey, don't get twisted. I'm about to jump on it right now, my damn self.
Oh, you talk about
'Cause
rarity.
you're
You
right,
can't. I
man.
didn't know this before, but you can't get this pack unless you bought packs before. So they didn't even let you in the. So
Wow.
that's that. I don't know if any of you know, like, clubs and art museums. A lot of times they won't let you in to see something unless you've shown that you're loyal and you're down with the crew. You bought something before. You're part of the club. So I didn't know that my online activity was making me part of the club, but I'm part of the club. So awesome.
Yeah, I'm on it right now. You're right. Rising Stars, $200, man. Join the drop. Wow. This stuff is awesome, man. So anyway, so look, we talked, some time on this, but it's something that, I think we're probably going to revisit on and on because this is exciting times. So let's move on to the new kid on the block in terms of the streaming wars, right? So we talk about Rising Stars. Paramount Plus is a rising star in the streaming wars, and so basically Paramount Plus is a replacement of CBS Plus, right? All Access, which was basically CBS TV shows and movies that was released a couple years ago, right? And so Paramount Plus is the corporate, basically Viacom partner that owns the rights to CBS, but they also own the rights to Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, BET, and Paramount Pictures, right, which owns the rights to Mission Impossible, Indiana Jones, and other things. And they launched recently. And what blew my mind is the depth of things that Paramount Plus has, right? So obviously we talked about some of the things that they have, but they can go from kids, from SpongeBob and Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Paw Patrol, all the way to movies like Mission Impossible and what's it called? Just a bunch of Paramount Plus movies, like basically starring Tom Cruise, a lot of them. But another thing too, because they own the rights to CBS, they can get access to sports, which is the unique thing that I don't think a lot of the other streaming services have just on their own. They have to partner with other folks, and so they can do things like NFL, soccer, and of course March Madness. One of the things too about Paramount Plus is going to be exclusive home for new Star Trek TV shows. So there's some interesting shows coming out. I don't know if you watch any of those shows. I watched quite a few. Definitely Discovery, and then I saw the cartoon version. Lower Decks. That was pretty good. And then they're going to release the what's it called? Brave New Worlds, right? Where Spock is a younger Spock, and he's with oh man, Captain, the captain before Kurt. I can't remember his name right now, but it'll come to me later. But anyway, make a long story short, this is a new entrant in Paramount Plus in the streaming services. So, Ben, what do you think, man? Is this something that you're gonna join up on? It's only $5.99 a month. Come on, let's jump on
Uh,
board.
I'm buying digital. I'm buying digital cards, and that's cool. But buying another streaming service is like, that's it's a chunk of my mind space that I don't want to take up. It's like there are too many streaming platforms out there. I just don't care like that anymore. Um, I'd almost rather buy BET Plus by itself than get some of the BET shows from
Oh
Paramount
no.
Plus. So I don't even know how they're doing that business.
Oh
I don't
no.
even know how they're doing that business wise. Why they have these multiple um, outlets, but they're doing it. But yeah, it just doesn't have that brand sightedness to me. Nobody thinks like, hey, I'm watching a Disney movie. Okay, hey, I'm watching this came out from Fox or whoever. But like, no one's sitting around thinking, oh yeah, Paramount, I need that. I mean, you might tell them the movies, the SpongeBob's, or this and that, but no one's like, oh yeah, Paramount, I want that. So as a brand, I don't know, it's just not appealing. That appealing to me. It's too much.
Well, I agree. It's too much. I mean, I think there's a survey that went out that says what people think they pay a month for the streaming services. Netflix, HBO, Hulu, Disney Plus. you think you pay $84, but in actuality, you actually pay on average $230 a month for your streaming services. So what that says is, there's value there. People don't think about it, for the most part, and then because they want to see everything, they rather pay more, right, for all these streaming services. So I think there's a lot of folks out there who are purchasing. I mean, personally, me, I have, let's think, Netflix, Disney Plus. I got Paramount Plus now. I tried Peacock out, didn't like it too much. That's the NBC player. So I kind of dropped that one. Hulu, and then let's see, anything else? That's a HBO Max. That's what's that, 5. So that's my list right now. And so that's kind of big. Oh, and I got some kind of like off-brand kind of AT&T Direct TV thing that allows me to do live TV and sports. But so that's quite a bit. And so when I got average that out, but I would say that's close to about what I paid for cable back in the day. But so I don't know, Ben, how many streaming services do you have now? Do you know off the top of your head?
Let me tell you. You asked me a couple weeks from now, I'll have dropped another one and added something else. The streaming services I have always tend to um, they change as time goes on. It's like right now I'm trying my best to drop Netflix. Um, After I plow through Agents of Shield and some anime that I got to get through, I'm going to drop Netflix for a couple months, and then I'll jump back on. This is like we talked about way long ago with the whole binging. This is the kind of I'm the kind of user they don't want because I'll drop you like a bad habit.
Mhm.
Um, I don't have that many, man. I got Netflix, Funimation, HBO Max. Um, and, of course, I got Prime. I got to watch Coming to America at some point. Um,
Oh, Prime.
yeah, yeah.
I got Prime. Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't actually care to get Prime. I just had the Prime service already, and was like, oh, I can watch videos too. Cool, I'm in.
Yeah.
But yeah, all these spending like you were saying, that $230 average, that's bonkers to me. So I'm not for it. I'm trying to drop streaming services, yet still stay connected.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I know exactly. Well, you know what? I forgot two more. I have Prime, and I also have Apple TV because I love this one show called For All Mankind. So yeah, I'm a for lack of a better word, I'm a streaming service hoe, right? I got them all. So anyways, I have a lot of them out there right now because I'm trying to kind of get a sense of what has everything I'm looking for. I guess the thing I want to put up with Paramount Plus intrigues me, right? So they have genre storytelling, which is Star Trek, right? So, so anything with Star Trek is going to come onto that streaming service first or exclusively. So definitely I like that. I like the fact they have kids, so they have kids programming, especially Avatar. My kids and I love the first Avatar. I think they're still too young for the second. I don't know. Have you watched you watched the Avatar series? I know that the Airbender, but did you see the Legend of Korra at all?
I started into it, didn't get that
If you
far into
haven't,
it.
so that's something. Okay, yeah. Same here. I mean, I saw bits and pieces, so I know what the story's about. It's a little bit more mature storytelling. So I told the kids I want to watch it because they see on YouTube. Like, no, no, no. Wait till you get older. We'll get into it later. So, but yeah, I think, so they're supposed to, obviously, they got that license. So of course Nickelodeon's gonna say we got more Avatar coming out. So of course I had to get that for that and SpongeBob and some of the Paw Patrol stuff they love. So I like that aspect of it. I like the movies aspect because I think Top Gun is the movie I'm thinking about. That's gonna any Paramount movies that stream that will be launched. They will stream them on the streaming service within 30. I think it's 30 days. I got looked at. So basically, they're gonna put it out in the movie theater, Top Gun, and within 30 days, you'll be able to see on Paramount Plus. So that's positive. And then finally, I don't think this is something no exclusive streaming service has, which is live sports, right? And Paramount Plus has NFL, soccer, and March Madness, which is awesome. So I think Hulu has live sports, right? I mean, that's what they kind of advertise out there on the internets and all that. But it's not like they have to, and then you got to mix it with Disney Plus to get your TV programming. So it looks like Paramount Plus could potentially have everything you're kind of looking for, right? When it comes to live TV, movies, kids programming and adult type
All
TV
right.
shows and
So
movies. So it's gonna be
so as
interesting.
far as branding goes, um, nobody wants everything. Pick a lane and get good with it. If you're just popping all around saying, "Hey, we got live this, we got that and that," you know, as somebody who's coming in late to the game, Paramount Plus is relatively late in their debut. I don't know that the everything strategy is going to work for them. I mean, if they call themselves the Star Trek channel, um, will they have more success? I'm not totally sure, but it's a weird flex. I don't know how it's going to work out for them.
$5.99, $6 a month. And they actually had a good deal where you were if you purchased CBS All Access before March 3rd, I think it was. They would give you 50% off for a year. So I think I paid for mine's like $50 to get access for a year to Paramount Plus. That's the only reason why I bought it. I was like, okay, cool. Instead of paying, $6 a month, I was able to get it for $50 for a whole year.
Right,
So
right.
that's a good
Yeah, that
flex.
that is true.
So
This is maybe something you can speak more on too, but um, it's so strange how pricing affects people buying. It's like you've got the pricing of is paying too little for it. Does that cheapen the service? It's just like it's like
mm,
yeah, it's $4.99 a month, $2.99 a month or whatever. I don't need it. But if it's I don't know, it just feels kind of like back to the shoe example. You've got your Nikes, your Reeboks, your Adidas. Then after that, it's like, yo, some fools coming in here trying to rock Asics like they're really that important to people, and it's like nobody's standing in line to buy Asics. I don't know what you're trying to pull here, but it's an interesting play. I don't,
hey, Puma, Asics, man, they're rocking. They're coming back, man. Puma, they gonna hit
Oh,
it
Puma's
hard, man.
okay.
Come on.
Speaking of Gary V, and nostalgia, Puma's been making a big comeback. So don't sleep on Puma. Definitely not. They got a series of Thundercat shoes coming out. Yeah. So
No.
it's
Oh,
the Puma,
damn.
the Puma Thundercats collaboration coming out. Uh,
Panthro Pumas. Oh, I'm there, man. Panthro Pumas.
yeah.
Come on.
So
Come
we'll
on. We
post
got to
up
get those.
some of that to our Instagram and our Facebook, so you'll definitely be able to see those images.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying, but you even, I mean, hinted at it too. And I'm kind of thinking about it too. Netflix is supposed to be the everything because they got comedy, reality shows and all that. But I'll be honest with you, I can count on one hand the number of TV shows and movies I'm watching on Netflix, right? And it's like, and they went up on their pricing, like I think last year or sometime. They're like pretty expensive compared to, now HBO Max is expensive, but then the thing I like about them is that these are going to be movies that are streaming, for this whole year at least, like these are going to be movies that are going to be released in the theater, like Space Jam or Suicide Squads or the new Matrix. So I get access to these first run movies, directly at home. So, that $15 price point for HBO Max is fine by me. But I think I'm paying what, 12, $13 for Netflix. And I'm struggling to try to even find stuff. I mean, I always look to see, what they're going to release for this next week or next month and see what's coming up. I'll be honest, there's a lot of foreign shows, which is great, get a good different perspective. But it's nothing I don't think I'm really interested in anymore, man. And so it's like I think these other streaming services may start to eat away at Netflix, lead, even though they got like what 230 million people on their platform right now, something ridiculous. But we already saw that Disney Plus is like at like 90 million people already in less than a year. So it's not like Netflix is going to have the belt for
Yeah.
too much
I
longer, in my
mean, we're
opinion.
talking about brand freaking loyalty, and what has anybody been talking about for the past couple Fridays? It's that WandaVision, it's that Marvel, it's that brand that we've been talking about. So, uh, Netflix, you better get you some brands, boy.
For real, man. I think didn't they? I think they bought that Malar universe. I don't know what's going on with that. Right? They haven't said anything about that, so that's kind of interesting. And then what else? I mean, Prime is kind of like an add-on. I mean, they got the Boys is great. They got some movies that are great. but it's kind of like, hey, watch Coming to America too while you buy this soap. It's kind of like it's like here it is. So I don't think they really care about the brand per se. So it's going to be interesting where Amazon Prime goes to, but HBO Max, I think I'm there for it. I think they have a real good shot because it's I just saw this one great show. It was about the AIDS crisis in London in the 80s. So it's basically nothing, something very foreign that I've never seen before, but it was really good. It was written by I can't remember the showrunner, but he did Torchwood. I don't know if you remember,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
the spinoff from Doctor Who. Russell Davies, I think that's his name, the showrunner. And so he did that show, and it was excellent. It's only 5 episodes. Check it out. It's called It's a Sin. But it was really good about, I mean, you seeing these young guys, getting affected, having a good time in a young time, being gay and all that. But then they get affected by the AIDS crisis is like right there. And it's kind of like, it's almost like Chernobyl, if you ever watched that miniseries, right? Where they're, you hear this threat, this existential threat and dread is coming for these folks, and they don't even see it coming. But anyway, I say all to say is like HBO Max, I think the quality is just better, I think, with their TV shows and movies, as opposed to Netflix. I know when I watch a Netflix show, it's going to be pretty decent, but I know it's going to be like a B minus
Yeah.
type TV show or
Yeah,
movie.
so that's been in my head lately, the quality, because when someone says, they want the best, they don't really mean they want the quote unquote best in terms of cinematography and filming. They want the thing that brings them the most enjoyment. And right now in our current state of affairs, enjoyment is, connecting with people, posting about it online, posting up fan theories, just the engagement. So, it's who has that type of engagement, that type of entertainment, that those types of shows that lead into water cooler talk. That's going to, and quite frankly, and it hurts me to say this as an artist and creative, right now, quality is taking a back seat to engagement and quantity, and what do you call it? Just having a show that speaks to me. You know what I mean? It's going to be
Mm-hmm,
interesting.
mm-hmm. No, that's a good segue. Let's get into Disney Plus, and they kind of have the belt. Be honest with you, for the attention and interest, due to their TV show WandaVision. I read somewhere that WandaVision was the most streamed show in the month of February. So let's get into the final episode for the season for WandaVision. So a lot of things to unpack here. I know we didn't talk about before this, so I would love to get your opinion on this. But real quick, thoughts on this. My thoughts are that I see that they're looking at potentially making this another ongoing TV show, because I think there was enough interest there. But I'll be honest with you, the season finale kind of let
Uh,
me down. I don't think it was that good. The storylines weren't. It just like that scene in Black Panther when you had Killmonger and Black Panther fighting each other, and they fell down that shaft, and they were just like a bunch of CGI fighting
yeah.
down the shaft. That's what I felt about this last episode of WandaVision.
Dude, I'm just having fun cracking up at like I'm a shout out Andy here because he loves the show, right? Uh, Andy from Pod Squadron and known as the Chinese Pirate online. Uh, he was in love with WandaVision, and I was poo pooing on WandaVision. And when he got to the end, he was like, "Man, I don't like the way it ended." And I'm over here like, yeah, I was satisfied with the ending. I mean, it's like, all right, cool. Um, I guess can we put on the spoiler warning here? Just go into it. All
Yeah,
right, spoilers from here
totally.
on out. Um, I was like, cool. It's not the greatest ending, but they kind of did what they said they were going to do. They they said that we're going to build a character, do character development, and like Feige said, this is basically going to be a commercial for the movies. In so many words, he said that. He didn't, of course, straight out say that, but yeah, this is just to get to know Wanda, get to know Vision, get to know the world a little more. It's not actually supposed to make any big waves. So in the end, what happened? A whole lot of nothing.
Oh, exactly. It was just, CGI fighting, man. It was just like, I'm gonna fight you here, I'm gonna fight you here, I'm gonna fight you here, and I got the white visions coming out, and I'm gonna fight you here. Then the kid's gonna fight the army. It's just like, dude, I mean, it's kind of like that third act of a movie where, okay, it's pretty good, and then, the fighting's got to start. Okay, I know what's going to happen here. So I get what they were doing in it, and like we talked about. So, well, let's take a step back. Predictions, right? We asked, what do we predict was going to happen? So I think I'm correct. I don't know if you remember what I
Yeah,
said.
you said they're gonna basically go look for the kids and try to reconnect with Vision. So yeah, that totally happened. But it's definitely not uh, a clean
Yeah.
answer in the way we stated it. It was never thought to be like A, this is going to happen. B, this is going to happen. It's some muddiness in between all of those. So did the kids die? Quote unquote die. I don't know. They're just kind of off in some weird space universe or something. What does that mean? No one knows.
Mhm.
Is Vision actually alive? Is it the new Vision? No one actually knows. I do know what. I do know one thing though. Um, they kicked all the mutant fans in the nuts. It's like
Oh yeah. Oh, they shitted on that whole premise, man. I mean, it's just like, and I think that's what I think that's why Andy and other folks are upset. The whole, that was a fake out, total fake out with the Pietro or Pietro fakery. I mean, why would you use the same actor who played the same character in the Fox, series of X-Men, which Disney just recently bought, and then just basically, do a basic fart to that and say, "Oh, he was just an actor. He would just be manipulated by
uh,
Agnes, the
uh,
witch." And I was just like, "Dude, what are y'all doing, man? What was that
it
about?"
was a complete lie, and is I don't know who thought. Okay, this is a different style of writing that that they call pantsers. People that just they don't write from the end in mind. They start from a beginning and then they start to build on top of that. That seems logical, um, but starting from an end point, you're like, okay, at the end we need to have X, Y, and Z happen, and you start fleshing out a story that leads up to that point. On the other hand, you can get much more intense kind of interactions if you just have a show that starts and you're like, well, shit, let's just go this way, and that'll be fun, and let's add this and that. And then you have big problems with how does this thing wrap up. And you saw that in Game of Thrones as well, where the writing started to get out of control, and it's like, how do I bring this back together? Um, so somebody had the brilliant idea to bring in, Evan Peters, the guy who played Pietro in the Fox properties of X Men. They just had the idea to bring him in. So that blew everyone's minds because the MCU is a tight run ship. It's a tightly wound machine and it knows how to get things done, knows how to put these story elements out there. So, of course, people are going to say, oh, what does it mean? Does this lead to this and that? And in the WandaVision, they were just like, no, he's just some guy, and that's so
No,
egregious that I think they may be actually
it
going
was.
back and saying, you know what, we kind of fucked up with that one. Let's let's actually try to write him in some way that makes sense because the Marvel hate mail that they're getting right now online is like, how dare you fuck with me and my X Men love, and I got Pietro tatted on my back for nothing. It's like, come on, dog.
Oh man, this is a major misstep. I mean, what were they thinking? I mean, why would you introduce a character like this? I mean, look, I mean, Marvel, like you said, is a well-run machine. They've been thinking about a lot of this stuff since, the first Iron Man, right? I mean, in those first teaser trailers, right? They were talking about the Avengers and they didn't have the Avengers till like what was that 4 years later, and so they've been all and then they've always been thinking ahead, and so how would you introduce a character? I mean, I can understand if it's a different actor, fine, but the same actor who played the same character in the Fox series and then now just do a wet fart on that. I mean, it's just like, dude, what are y'all thinking, man? So Kevin Feige, I don't know, man. I mean, TV is different, so maybe he's just trying to get his his sea legs under him to understand how to tell stories in TV format because they're longer. You have to explore more in it. But it's a major misstep, and I think a lot of fans are kind of like, what are y'all doing, man? So to your point, so I haven't read the fandom. So you're saying Marvel's going back and trying to fix this retroactively? Is that what they're
No,
trying to do?
I think that they will address it in some way. Like, well, shit, we thought it was just kind of fun, or we thought it was interesting. Um, you know, hey, what are we gonna call this guy? Let's call him Boner. Yeah, that'll be funny. Um,
I know it's just a joke. Everything. I mean, basically, Agnes created him just to fuck with what's her name, Wanda, and then like you said, it was just like a one-off joke. I mean, he was off in the basement by himself, just chilling, and he's an actor named Boner. I mean, what are y'all doing, man? Just like, dude. I mean, when I saw that, I was
yeah,
like, oh, that's probably why the episode went down for me
yeah.
at that
So,
point.
I mean, there's been a lot of an outcry, but there are. It's still a show that is beloved by a huge number of people. There were people showing their reactions, and they were like bawling tears, just really crying at the end of it. So it's still got its beloved fan base out there. But if you weren't part of that beloved fan base, it's like protect your nuts, man, because Marvel came to kick them.
Protect your neck. I would say, I get it. I mean, the story of grief and, especially, like you said, Wanda, how she processes grief and kind of kind of basically moves on, from her grief and which is I get it. And then the stuff that they did with the storytelling, right? Having retroactive TV shows that they emulated right through the decades. And so I mean, all that, applaud them. I mean, but we talked about this. It was basically WandaVision was more interesting to talk about the mechanics of it. It's kind of like, here's a nice
Yeah,
watch, right? Well, you know, it's still ugly watch, but wow, look at what they did to make the watch work. And let's look inside. Oh my God, I've never seen this type of technology. So it's kind of like that's kind of how we looked at WandaVision, right? I mean, I think a lot of folks were just like, we get the storytelling, which is it's okay, but then the mechanics behind the storytelling, I think that is way more interesting and I think fascinating. And so, but I think it's still a win for Disney, right? I mean, because guess look, we're talking
yeah,
about it. They got a lot of eyeballs on it. I mean,
yeah,
there were some missteps here and there, but guess what? Don't matter, man. If you got attention,
yeah,
then you
exactly.
win.
So,
So
so people who are listening, it's not like Theo and I are just talking out our ass here. We've actually studied, writing and production on these things for a while. In fact, I found out about Theo's love for all this stuff when I learned his your uncle was an actor, right? And he had done some things, and I had been studying writing and creative storytelling for my history in video games. So I mean, let's look at like what happened to Wanda. Um, it's she got upset over a lot of loss and grief in her life and everything. So she creates this little town, and fast forward to the end of the series, it's like the town goes away. It doesn't seem like the townspeople cared very much. They were already kind of. I mean, even before, she was kind of on the outs. People didn't really like her before. Um, so now she's sitting on a beach somewhere. Seems like a happy ending. She's gonna go find her kids. Seems like okay, that's cool. There's this blue-eyed white man she's gonna try to hunt down and recreate into a new vision. That's kind of cool. And she's got this sweet sweet ass book to read while she's chilling. And it's like it it's for a hero. How do you end it in a way that's not good and not bad and doesn't really change anything except you gave her more power. And it
Mhm.
just like this is where people are talking about nothing really happened. It's like all of these things seem to transpire, but nothing really changed in the Marvel universe. What do we come to the next series with and think, oh wow, that's a really good way of looking at it. Now I'm going to look at WandaVision differently. It's like, no, you're not. You could have watched this entire or not watched this entire series and kind of had the same view of Wanda as you're going to have going on. So that's what gets at me when I'm thinking about nothing really happened. But I don't know. She's chilling on the beach, and she's
It's
supposedly the protagonist, antagonist, or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, it's still up in the air. I mean, what she's like the sorceress supreme, right? Versus Stephen Strange, who's the sorcerer supreme, right? So, she's doing the whole what is it called?
Dark
The
Phoenix?
you're in that plane of, well, no, you're in that plane of
Oh
existence
yeah,
where you can still drink tea and hang out, where you're still studying, the what they call the dark
yeah,
home, the
Darkhold.
book, she was in a little yeah, so Darkhold, so she's sitting there doing her thing. So I get it. Cool. So basically, she's gonna show up in Stephen Strange movie with a new costume, and then people who didn't see this show, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck is that?" And they'd be like, "Oh, gotta go watch." It's like the old school comic books.
Yeah, yeah,
Remember when something popped up? They were like, "How did Spider Man get this new costume?" Well, you gotta go read Amazing Spider Man number 28 282. And so
yeah.
I wonder if we gonna
The
watch the
little
movie. A little
bing,
pop ups. Watch WandaVision. Wonder where she got this costume. Watch
bing.
WandaVision. So anyway, so yeah, like you're right. So long story short, to sum it all up, look, I think we thought it was very ambitious what they tried, but I think at the end of the day, the story itself was, I think we weren't too impressed with it, but we get what they were trying to go with it, and so we're excited. What everyone who did love it, think they there was something that got out of it, but I think ultimately, failed in terms of storytelling. So it'll be interesting. We'll get to a story, I guess, on March 19th. I think in a couple of weeks on a Friday. Once again, Disney Plus owns Fridays. The Winter Show was
Falcon
it
and Winter
the
Soldier.
was it Yep, Falcon and Winter Soldier pops up, and so I think that's more traditional. It's going to be more action packed, hopefully, and so we'll see. Kind of like a buddy cop
Yeah,
type show. So we'll see what that's like. I mean, I don't think the expectations are going to be as high because they're not trying to do a lot of different things. I hope not. I mean, but it's Marvel.
yeah.
Who knows?
Oh,
just show some
yeah. Speaking of
explosions.
speaking of the Darkhold, it's if you watch Agents of Shield, which I don't recommend actually, but there's one season that is the Ghost Rider season. You can watch the Ghost Rider season all by itself, and it's actually to me that was the best of Agents of Shield. And you can watch that season. You'll get wild. It's pretty cool stuff. So, and you learn about the Darkhold a little bit too. So there's that.
Good stuff. What season? What do you know? What season number it was off the top of
I
your head?
do
If
not.
not, we'll put it in the show notes. Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes and put it out there on Instagram. But I'll be curious to watch that. Yeah, I kind of fell off us Agents of Shield after like the second season. I'm like, I'm done. So, but I heard it got some interesting points, some things that popped up. But yeah, I wasn't too impressed, especially when they tried to introduce the what was it called? The oh my god, the
Oh
moon
god,
people that
Inhumans.
wanted to
Yeah.
be the yeah, humans. Oh my god, yeah, it was not good. So anyway, we'll discuss more on that. So hey, Ben, I think that's about it, man. So I think we covered a lot of good stuff. Well, any updates for next week? Any plans for next week?
Um, I plan next week to go through buyer's remorse. While we were talking, I think my order for this pack just went through, um, and it cost me $199. I was kind of worried about it because suddenly everybody started jumping out of line, and whenever
Uh,
that happens, it's like, man, this ain't worth it. And people start leaving the line. It's like shit. I stayed in line. Am I a dumbass? Did I fuck up? So yeah, it's an unopened pack, so I might be able to sell it unopened, which is weird that you can do. But yeah, I'll update you on my NBA
no.
Top Shot NFT journey next week.
Yeah, you might sell it to me, man. I try to since we talked, I've been trying to get on there. I couldn't even sign up.
Yeah,
So they have blocked it off, and then I'm looking on the website now, and they say 4 left.
left now.
So,
Okay,
hey, if you win,
as long as
yeah,
it sells out like
it's o
in the first couple hours, I'm good. What I don't need is the pack selling out like in May or something.
yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen to me. It's too much hype right now, but, hey, if you don't want it, sell it to me. I'll take it. I'll be curious to see what happens,
Open
man, but,
pack,
no, this is
unopened,
interesting.
sealed, and pack released in March of 2021, a limited edition release. You know how those
Oh,
guys talk. I'm gonna be one of
oh.
those guys.
Yeah, 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 yeah. What's that comic book guy from
Yep.
The Simpsons? So well yeah, for me this week, I'll be traveling, so it'll be fun, but I don't really have too many things updates. Just excited about let's see, any new TV shows or movies coming out. I'm trying to think. Man, I can't think of anything that's popped off. We need to talk about Superman. I saw the second episode, Superman Lois. Pretty good. I'm impressed so far. So we'll see how it goes. And I know this month sometime we're going to probably talk about the Snyder Cut. So that's going to be interesting. So yeah, I know you hype
I'm
about
for it.
that, man. There's more stuff coming up.
I'm
I
gonna
know,
call
man.
Brian Seaton, give him all my updates. Get beat out on here.
B dot. Yeah, we should get B dot on there, man. He might, yeah. He's got a lot of opinions, I'm sure.
Controlling.
So who's us? Yeah, man. Pacing Pete, man. I think he's got a lot of ideas too around DC. I know he's a DC guy too, so we might want to bring him on as well. But well, that's about it, everyone. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate it. I think we kind of covered everything we kind of want to discuss. I think as we always talk about, please like, subscribe, and comment at Show versus Business on Twitter or Instagram. Definitely reach out to us if you have any questions. We love to kind of get your feedback and comments. Definitely love the feedback as we kind of continue to build the audience here. With that being said, Ben, there's nothing else. Take care, Ben. Have a great one.
Care to my man. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Show versus Business, your weekly take on pop culture. Please subscribe to this podcast at Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please like and subscribe to our Instagram page, Show versus Business, to get exclusive behind the scenes takes and upcoming episodes. Talk to you next time.
Finish him!